Right, so I've applied so that all the shims are all correct now, and measurements are what I took. They're all within factory specifications. As you can see, the fresh oil on here. I just obviously, if you put the cams, you always have to put a bit of oil because they turn in aluminium. So obviously don't forget to apply the liquid gasket in where the seals, the cam seals go. So obviously you can see it's all pre-applied, not too much, but still. And then you see the seals have 3 bonds of liquid gasket, it's called. So now all we need to do just to put the exhaust cam in. There you go, and the inlet cam as well. There it goes in. Make sure that they are in correct position, and the seals as well, because later if the seal's leaking you have a big problem, because it's a pain in the backside just to do that again. So now obviously a little bit of a lubrication on the cams. Yeah, so we have oil on the cams. We can put the cam bridges back on. Yep, it's all pre-applied as well here. A little bit of as Ducati say, where to apply the bond. So there you go. And another one. And now the bolts which they hold the cam shafts, the bridges. Okay, so the bolts are in. Obviously I would suggest to put some oil on the bolts, because it's quite crucial to obtain torque settings and on the cam bridges. So Ducati says to do it in cross sort of pattern to do the torque on the bolts. They suggest to do it in 2 stages, first 11 Newton meters and then 25. So I set up the torque range for 11, and well, that's sort of, I'm just going to do it now. So I'm just going to show you the first bolt. And that's it. So now in crisscross pattern, so you have to do them all and then change to 25 Newton meters. Okay, so the bolts are torqued up to 25 Newton meters. Obviously I would strongly suggest to, after the job's been done, make sure the cams, the 3 sort of, they spin nicely, because if they are a little bit tight or very tight, obviously there is something wrong. So if you found out now if there is something wrong, obviously when you put everything together and you start the engines, that could be catastrophic. So make sure they're spinning nice, and next step will be put obviously rocker cover back on, and I always fit new o-rings on the bolts, on the flange bolts, because it's just a few pennies of the rings, but it will save the problem with the leaking oil, which I would say very often happens on these engines.